So, in today's video, we are going to focus on the four things that you should do once you launch your LinkedIn newsletter. Naturally, this is a question that I keep getting more and more of because we have so many resources and free trainings that we host around starting a LinkedIn newsletter. So, naturally, the next question is, what do I do next? And that's what you're going to learn in today's video. So, let's start. I'm going to bring up the presentation. So you launched your LinkedIn newsletter. Congratulations. Put in the chat how many subscribers you have now. And if you have no idea what a LinkedIn newsletter is or how to launch one, we have several YouTube videos on our channel that will teach you how to do that. But you launched it. What do you do now? And this question I get a lot, but specifically, it was inspired by one of our subscribers who said, "Hey, I have 700 subscribers now on the first day. What should I do next?" And it's a great question because you may not know what to do next, and you may just want to follow some simple steps. The first thing is to prepare to publish consistently. And the key word here is consistently. Now, that may mean different things for different people, but the minimum amount of consistency that I would kind of advise and where we help our clients build to is at least weekly. So you want to publish one edition of your LinkedIn newsletter at least weekly and at most daily. So, depending on the bandwidth of a client that I'm working with, we may start with weekly and then build up to twice a week and maybe just stay at twice a week. I have clients that we've been working with for almost 6 months now, and they're at twice a week. So, and they don't want to go past twice a week because they're actually growing a little bit faster than they thought, and they have to fulfill clients and things like that. But I just started working with someone last week and he has a team and he has content that he's used on other platforms. So it's very easy to leverage that content. And he knows exactly who his client is so that he could start to publish daily. So the real answer is to ask yourself, how often can you publish without it lacking the quality? And that really depends on whether you're solo, the time that you have available, whether you have a team, whether you don't. But just be honest with yourself within the bandwidth that you have. And why is this important? It's important for you to commit to publishing consistently from the beginning because you want to gather as much data as possible from the get go. So if you only publish monthly, it's going to take you 12 months. That's a pretty long time. That's a year for you to even get back a data set of 12 points and then you to look at the data and say, well, they like this, they like that. Also, because of AI, things are happening much faster, changing much faster. So, things that could be revealed in the data may not be even relevant if it's 12 months ago. Does that make sense? Things may have changed. So you want to understand that the more that you publish consistently within that time frame, the more you will learn and the faster you will learn. You'll learn what works best for you based on your specific goals. So when you're organizing your content calendar, because once you've actually launched your LinkedIn newsletter, you want to give it at least a couple of days for your subscriber list to grow. And this honestly will depend on whether you are active or inactive. We won't go there, but just as a good framework, you want to wait at least 2 or 3 days before you publish your next edition. A week is great as well if you're going to commit to publishing weekly. So when you're organizing your content calendar, you want to approach it by having a testing mindset. Now, what does that mean? That means that you're kind of seeing yourself as a painter and seeing what you could publish and share within your newsletters as a blank canvas. So you want to test different styles from the get-go. You want to test long-form educational articles that are text only. You may want to test long-form educational articles that are text with images. Then you'll want to share long-form educational articles that have videos embedded within the article. And then you want to test between native videos embedded and, let's say, a YouTube video embedded. So, and this may seem overwhelming, But even if you're just going to approach planning your first four, you don't want all four to look the same, feel the same. You want to start testing. There's also inspirational style, text only, text with image, video embed natively, video embed externally. And then there's the more invitational style, invitational style. And if you have taken our LinkedIn newsletter training, which we just hosted a 4-day LinkedIn newsletter training, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you are in our program, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But these are more of the email style newsletters because remember, you're not just publishing an article. This article is being sent via email to all of your subscribers inside of their inbox on behalf of LinkedIn. So the other styles to invite them to, let's say, your future LinkedIn live events that are internal to the platform, and then live events that are external to the platform, such as a Zoom webinar or in-person event, a mastermind, whatever, doesn't matter. But you want to test with these different styles. You don't want to assume that you know what your audience will most gravitate to, most respond to. So be intentional about not just different testing styles of like the format, but also different topics, different areas of interest, different lengths, all of that. Don't assume that you know what works. I kind of mentioned that, but there is kind of, I have had a lot of conversations with a lot of people, and we have helped a lot of business owners grow on LinkedIn at this point. So I have heard it all. And one of the repeat patterns is that people impress the things that they believe onto their audience. So if they don't like to receive newsletters more than once a month, they'll tell themselves, well, my audience won't like to receive newsletters more than once a month. Or if they don't like to receive long newsletters, they'll say to themselves, well, my audience won't like to receive long newsletters either. So I'm just going to write really short ones. And that may not necessarily be the case. So just have a testing mindset. If you're finding that you're procrastinating, this is something that I witness a lot, is that people are experts, they've put in the work, you've been boots on the ground, you know exactly what it is that you're talking about, you have the experiences to share, and you have the network to build upon, you have the subscriber list, but you're finding that when it comes to actually publishing consistently, you want to write this dissertation, you want it to be the next thing that wins the Nobel Peace Prize, whatever. And you're finding that you're procrastinating and not publishing. And so usually that's because you're more focused on publishing something that makes you look good versus publishing something that is actually helpful for your audience. Now, I'm not saying to publish something that is helpful for your audience that will make you look like a clown. But if you just change that frame and that perspective, it usually gets yourself out of the way. At least that is what I have found to work for me and for clients that we work with. So ask yourself, what can I share that will really help the people I want to work with? And what's just one thing that I could share? People approach LinkedIn newsletters, like I said, they want to share 25 different things in one newsletter when it could literally just be one point newsletter because people can only really ingest and really assimilate and simmer in whatever you're teaching them one thing at a time. So, in every newsletter, you also want to make sure that you include your one call to action or what I call one place. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, we have a video on our YouTube channel that is called, the Ultimate LinkedIn Marketing Strategy. It goes through exactly how you should approach LinkedIn and how you should decide where the one place that you lead everyone that goes to your profile to off of LinkedIn and why you should do that. So within every newsletter, there should be leading to that one call to action. And that could be a consultation. That could be them to message you in the DMs. That could be for them to download your ebook or to join your email list, whatever it is. It shouldn't change with every newsletter. So just make sure that you include that. Extra bonus points if the call to action feels seamless or if the call to action feels like, oh, of course, this is the next logical step in learning more about this thing. It would be very weird for me to publish a LinkedIn newsletter about, hey, these are the few things that I've learned through my experience of going live using StreamYard. And then at the end, I want you to download a 10 tips to better carpentry ebook. Like, it just doesn't make any logical sense. It's not the next logical step. So you want to make sure that your call to action feels like the next step. It should kind of be like smooth like butter is the best way that I could describe it. Um, to make the output and consistency easy for you, use a process that works best for you. So if you're finding that the process that you're doing now is draining you, if you're approaching it like, oh my gosh, I have to do this, if it's taking you 4 hours to write one newsletter and then you don't have time to do XYZ that you have to do in your business, then that's a serious problem. So one of the things that we advise clients to do is to put a 30-minute timer, and we give them a process, but it's really about identifying what process works best for you. So if I'm strong on video, or if I do lives, this live, even the transcript could be converted into 1 or 5 of my next LinkedIn newsletters, because it could be a holistic LinkedIn newsletter where I address all 4 points, or it could be one individual newsletter per point that I'm talking about. Does that make sense? So for me, that process would be seamless and it wouldn't make me have to do double the work because I'm leveraging the transcript that I'm already presenting now. I have clients that the one client that I started working with one-on-one last week, he's just doing voice notes, answering a question that he's asked by a client. He'll riff on the voice note for about 1 to 2 minutes, and that'll be a foundation for his newsletter first draft, and then he'll build upon that. But the thing is, you want something where you feel energized. You don't want something where it drains your energy. Use the process, like I said, that is going to feel the most natural to you, that does not drain your energy. So within this first point so far, you want to decide on the frequency. You want to approach strategic testing, have that testing mindset, and you want to identify the process that is going to be the most sustainable for you. The second step here is to connect with second and third degree subscribers. Now, why is this important? This is important because remember, when you launch your LinkedIn newsletter, the invite to subscribe goes to all of your followers. So naturally, on your subscriber list, there's going to be first degree connections, which are people that have already accepted your connection request or you already accepted theirs. Then there's also going to be second and third degree connections. Those are people that are followers but are not directly connected to you. You want to look at the list and you'll see like the number here. You see where it says second, 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 and the bottom one says third. That tells me that those people follow me, but they're not connected to me. And based on their headline, based on their image, based on clicking their profile and checking their profile out, I could then decide, oh, this person looks like someone that I would want as a first degree connection, because I want to be able to invite them to future live events. And so what I would do is I would send them a message, and we'll get to that. But the thing is, first, you want to survey your subscriber list and then maybe send 5 to 10 connection requests if you can on any given day for the people that you want in your network. This is important, like I said, because if any one of those people, I think, hey, maybe this person I could help, maybe they could be a future client, I want to be able to invite them to my future live events through the invite feature, then I need them to be a first degree connection. You also want to look at people on that list who may not necessarily become a client, but who you want to unlock your network to. So if I see that there's a serial entrepreneur or some big podcaster or some huge decision maker, and I know that a lot of my ideal prospects are in their network, or maybe a lot of potential B2B partnerships or whatever are in my ideal network, are in their network, then I want to connect with them first degree so that their network kind of unlocks and I could then be more exposed to their network as they engage with my content. And you want to be able to message these people in the future if you ever want to. You want them to be able to message you in the future without it being a hassle. So when you do message them, you don't want to make it complicated. Like just be like, hey, just call out the elephant in the room. These people are on the list for a reason. That means that they had to move their hand and be like, yes, click, I want to subscribe to your newsletter. And you have access to that list. So I just have a tendency to call out the elephant in the room and be like, hey, you're my newest subscriber. I saw you at the top of the list, wanted to say thank you. It does not have to be complicated. The third thing to do is to message first degree connections. So, like I said, you have second and third degree that you're going to send the connection request to, but you also have first degree connections that maybe you could build a rapport with or message or just get them more engaged with you. And so don't send them a boring message that is the length of a book. You know, we all get these. If you've ever experienced one of these messages on LinkedIn, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like this long, it's coming from a bot. Um, People are asking you for stuff from the get go that have never even said. I have people asking me, hey, can you support my book? Can you go to my workshop? Can you do this? They don't even say hello. They just send like a huge message. And you don't want to be that person, because when people get messages like that on LinkedIn, they immediately feel that you're a bot. Okay. So, one of the greatest kind of frames to think about this is from a book by Scott McKain. It's called Iconic. And he basically goes into what builds an iconic brand. How do people build brands, both in businesses or like music artists, that expand beyond their niche or their industry? And one of the things that happens to be the case is that people don't really understand the downside of data that they don't see. So, for example, people say, I'm going to send 100 messages that look like this bot in the DM. I'm going to get 5 replies. I'm going to close 1 client. But what they don't account for in that data are like the 95 other people that now have a negative taste in their mouth associated with you and your brand because of the way that you approach them. So you can't really measure that, right? Which is why it's not in the data. But he talks about that. It's fascinating. And you don't want that association with your brand. So you just want to be yourself, be very friendly, and just be simple. You don't want them to feel like a number, like you want to immediately take from them, like you want to sell them, even if they don't need your services or want your services, so on and so forth. So one good tip that I could give in this scenario is to just maybe do a voice note for the message. Like, just what would you say to this person if they were sitting across the table from you? Like, if you were in kindergarten again, or let's say like 5th grade, and they're like, hey, you have to say hello to this person, what would you say? And keep it simple, 1 to 2 sentences, and don't ask for anything. Okay. So it could be like, hey, naming the elephant in the room. Saw you're my newest LinkedIn subscriber. Thank you so much for that. Or I really appreciate you for that. It could be that you're curious and you're like, hey, I have no idea what I'm going to write next week. Do you have one question that I could answer for you? Or do you have one doubt about LinkedIn newsletters and I can make your question into my edition? Like, you just want to kind of approach it like you're making friends. Does that make sense? You don't want to be like, dearest reader, your LinkedIn profile is of utmost, admiration, and be fake. So just be yourself. So the 4th step here is to create your next or your first LinkedIn Live event. And what this will do is, remember, your LinkedIn newsletter subscribers, they're mainly going to be reading your LinkedIn newsletter within their inbox. Maybe you'll have some videos embedded, but likely those videos will be on-demand videos, so pre-recorded videos. You want to give your subscribers an opportunity to see you live. You want them to be able to be like, does this person really know what they're talking about or not? Do I like their personality? Can I actually ask them a question on the spot? Will they actually answer me? Like, this is important. So you want to be able to provide that opportunity for them, and for them to sit back and decide, like, are they even in need of your services or not? Can they learn from you? Can they maybe not even be a future client of yours, but maybe then be like, "Oh, like, I watch this creator live. What she offers, I'm not her target market, but I have shared her videos with a few of my friends, and her videos, they've bought her books, they've bought this, they've bought that, and her information has changed their life." And they're so thankful for me because they're like, "Thank you so much for sharing this," because they know I won't share just random creators that I don't think actually know what they're talking about. But the only reason why I was able to share her videos with them is because I saw that she was live one day and I just started to listen. I'm like, "Oh, this person really is an expert in this." And she's changed two of my friends' lives. So this will give you a true opportunity to prove your expertise, even if it's not in front of your prospects and it's just in front of one of their friends where they could share that information with them. This will also provide you with content that you'll be able to repurpose for short video clips, for future LinkedIn newsletters, so on and so forth. And it also provides you with a list of potential newsletter subscribers and also people from your first degree network of who's actually most interested in that topic. So those are the first four things that I would do once you launch your LinkedIn newsletter. If you want to learn more, go to ugrow.club. If you're interested in becoming a one-on-one client, message me on LinkedIn. God bless you. Ciao.